the Fillmore.
Well, my mama loves me, but my daddy don't. I'm trying to work it all out, but I probably won't. I got a woman waiting at the top of the stair. It's the wrong thing to do, but I don't care.
Dude, you got the best seat in the house.
You know, man, I've been singing Tom since '86 when I saw him at RFK with the Grateful Dead.
Awesome.
And Bob Dylan. And after that, I started enjoying him, you know, with the Heartbreak and going to see him. I saw him in '97 at the Fillmore. I did 8 of the 16 nights, and I did, Tom actually gave me a guitar one of the last nights.
Thanks for coming, man. It's awesome having you here.
Right on.
Hope you enjoy it. You got the best seat in the house, man. That's awesome. Steven?
Yep.
Nice to meet you, man. Enjoy it tonight, you guys.
That's right. Thanks for
See you. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Robert Scovill here. We are on day, what are we, day 13? Man, we're just grinding them up on this tour. Day 13 of the Mudcrutch tour. We're in Philadelphia today for the Fillmore. There's actually a Fillmore here in Philadelphia. You know, I guess this was put together by Live Nation. It actually has some of the kind of look and feel of the Fillmores of San Francisco, you know, so you kind of see the chandelier there, always a kind of a, you know, a sign that you're in the Fillmore when you see chandeliers up, right? It's pretty cool. At any rate, we're here for the show today. We got a pretty good PA system today. We got something put in by Claire Brothers. Something, I think we're probably maybe 2,000 seats here, something like that. Shelters are set up. We've line checked and sound checked today, virtual sound check, of course. And maybe we'll just take a few minutes and get you back to the console, and maybe we'll come up with something that we can show you today. So let me get the camera turned around here, and I don't know, maybe I'll find something to show you on the console. We'll see you in a minute. How do you pick a good drum hit, Gary?
Well, you start with as many as you can at the size you want, and you give it try to ring it, you hit on the edge, and you're looking for a tone. If the head doesn't have a tone, neither will your drum.
Profound. That is profound.
Right?
And it will not tune well. It will take you a while.
Thank you for these marvelous insights, Gary. These are tips and tricks on the video series. All right, so I've had a couple of people ask me about some of the way I use some of the distortion and harmonic plugins with Venue, and you know, I've been making use of these for a long time. And you know, my approach is really very, ironically, very similar to what I would do in the studio, and probably no better example of that than the snare drum. And when I say the studio, of course, I'm actually talking about in the days where we were recording with analog. So if you take a look at my chain here, I'm going to pull this up here. The first thing plug-in wise in my snare drum chain is actually a plug-in called Twin Tube Processor, and this is a pretty cool processor in that it allows you to create harmonic content as well as saturation. You have really good control over either of these things, so you can create something you know, on your signal that is very much like preamp distortion and be in great control of it. Then once that is done, I move on to something like a Pultec, where I'll do some tone shaping on that snare drum. Again, very similar like I would do in the studio if I was recording analog, and then I was pushing this to tape. You know, if I was going to brighten it or I was going to make it fatter, I would always do that before I get to analog tape. And so this would be the second thing in my chain. So I've got the preamp distortion followed by equalization, and then I'm going to send it to something like Phoenix to create some tape saturation characteristic on as well. So it's like I've created a chain here that is input preamp distortion and coloration, followed by equalization, followed by tape saturation or tape compression, something very, very similar. So that's primarily my plug-in chain on the snare drum. I still do the snare top, snare bottom. I still use the overheads as part of my drum sound, etc. But I do a very similar thing to what I would do in the studio if I was recording analog. I do the same thing for the toms. A lot of times I'll do the same thing for the bass drum as well. I just like having that combination of preamp and tape available to me to get what I want out of those particular things. I'll also do similar things on vocals. A lot of times for vocals, however, kind of depending on the vocalist and maybe even some of the background noise that is around that vocalist, I might even DS it first. I actually do that with Tom. Let's see if I can get to it here. Yeah, so I use the McDSP DE555, the de-esser. It's really an incredible de-esser. It is far and away one of the better ones I've ever used. And a lot of times what I'll do is actually de-ess it first and then go to the saturator, and that'll be actually kind of the last thing in my chain there. I like being able to create brightness and kind of mid-range on the vocal, using that as the last part of the chain as opposed to the primary part of the chain. It'll work either place. That just seems to work really well on Tom for some reason. So that's just a couple of plug-in chains on the console. I'll try to do more as we go along, and again, in the efforts to try to keep these vlogs a little shorter and a little more watchable, just let you know what I'm up to. Okay? Maybe on the next one we'll talk about using some amp modeling on keyboards and things like that. That's a really, really effective tool as well to kind of make things sound a little more natural, a little more rich for some of these kind of digitally sampled keyboards. All right? So I'll leave it there. We'll pick this up again on the next vlog, and that's about it for me. I'll see you guys later. I'll check in with you maybe after the show if we have some time. All right, we're just finishing up our show here in Philadelphia at the new Fillmore. Really, really nice show here. Just simply fantastic crowd. Band played pretty cool tonight. They played a lot of kind of unique stuff tonight. Did some jams that were really, really nice at the end of the show. So very, very cool stuff. So I hope you're enjoying what we got going on. I hope you enjoyed the little plug-in demonstration there. Hope you got something out of that, and we'll try to keep it going here. So see you later. We're off to New York for a few days and the Songwriters Hall of Fame, so we'll check in from there. See you there.